Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit for round 5 of the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. Conditions are dry, it's a little bit windy, which really does affect these cars quite a bit. And in pole position, every single race this year, the number 11 machine, championship leader, the man who's won the most races, is on pole position. He didn't get pole position at the away round at Rockingham, but Morgan missed out on pole position at Rockingham. We're back at Knockhill and you've had every single pole position here so far this year. This is just a normal day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. It's just the cold mornings seem to help us quite a lot in qualifying. Obviously, the great setup by JRC engineers, doing a great job in the car as well. So yeah, it's going good and hopefully we can keep it up.
I'm not going to jinx it, but things are looking good. At the start of the year, you had Dominic Wheatley for company tight in the points, but he's going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment, so he's not scoring points. Now you've got Mark behind you, who's not really been there at the beginning of the year, so you're consistently scoring these big points, but the second place man is not consistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult, as I keep saying. Everyone's so close and tight in the championship. Mark Gerrity getting very quick. Good on him, he's a good lad. So yeah, he's got a good team backing him as well and a good sponsor. So yeah, I mean, as I say, it's tight, but
it's too early to start thinking I'm going to start looking at the championship. It's only just past the halfway point, so you need to try keep winning, but at some point you're going to have to start thinking you've got a 40 odd point lead. You're going to have to start thinking sensible at some point and not take crazy risks just for that win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to keep it consistent, keep the speed, keep it fast, and keep it consistent. That's all I can do.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Morgan Murray on pole position from Mark Gerrity, then Hannah Chapman and Robbie Dalgleish. Kyle Reid from Mike Courts and Dylan O'Donnell. Dominic Wheatley, John Duncan with Michael Weddle in 10th. Neil Robertson 11th and Chris Reid. Row 7, Taylor Shand and Callum Driver. Row 8, Alan Patterson and Chris Blackhall. Then Ross Wilkinson, newcomer Emily Glanville. Simon Holden is next from Johnny Dreelan, Craig Blake, David Long, Ian Munro and Adam Kindness. Lights are on for round 12 and out they go. Good start by Mark Gerrity from the outside of the front row. Looks very much equal to the championship leader. Chris Reid is there. Hannah Chapman third on the grid and is challenging the pole position round. That means Mark Gerrity has got the lead. Gerrity in the lead. Morgan Murray second. Robbie Dalgleish third. Fourth is Hannah Chapman. Fifth place is Kyle Reid. Kyle a double winner, the white and green car. Then it is Dylan O'Donnell, another race winner. Here is the view from Chris Reid. Chris challenging Dominic Wheatley. Dominic is third in the championship. The race leader, though, what a start by Mark Gerrity. Look for him. There he is in blue. He's checked out. He's in the distance. Gerrity is fourth in the standings at the moment. Hannah runs a little bit wide, under pressure from Kyle Reid. So Kyle's going to have a look down the inside at Hislops and maybe make a move coming down into the hairpin, which is where the race leader is now. What a start and what a first lap by Mark Gerrity. Look at Chris Reid, though, round the outside line. He's up and challenging Mike Courts in the 75. So up across the line, Gerrity with a big lead. The championship leader immediately behind Morgan Murray, the white car with the saltire on the roof, coming under pressure from Robbie Dalgleish. And the championship leader who set pole position, he knows he's got the pace around here, but is really under pressure for second. This is great news for Mark Gerrity, who will look in his mirrors. You'll see those two dicing. Off track goes Johnny Dreelan. That's going to be a safety car. Keep your eyes open for yellow flags. The drivers probably won't. Yeah, there's a yellow. I was going to say the drivers won't necessarily, depending what lap that happened on, won't necessarily know whether that's happened. But they will now, and they've all spotted the yellow flags. They've all slowed down into single file. So well read by everybody. Chris Blackhall, the other driver involved in that, and that's going to be Chris's fourth retirement of the year, I think. So the Edinburgh-based driver is out. The Aberdonian Johnny Dreelan is out as well. Our first two retirees of our as normal triple header. Just two races we had last time at Rockingham Motor Speedway, where Michael Weddle was on pole, and incidentally Morgan Murray's had it. It was Morgan's third pole here at Knockhill this year. This is the fourth meeting. The third meeting we had back in June, pole position went to Ian Munro. He's in the yellow car towards the back of the shot coming through. He's got 4 cars behind him. And Ian Munro, of course, a big hitter in the championship. Well, not literally a big hitter, but a metaphorical big hitter. Starting 23rd out of 24. Your ears weren't deceiving you when I did the grid. So Munro 6 in the standings, really not having any luck at all in the championship this year. I mean, obviously, as a champion driver elsewhere here in the SMRC, the Scottish Motor Racing Club, we know he's got the talent. We've seen him take wins in this championship as well, but just not having the luck. And you can see there is the 23 car, the yellow 23, getting ready for the restart. So this early safety car may have helped him. He might be able to make up some more places. This, though, for Mark Geraghty is crucial. This is the restart. He calls the shots. He can go when he wants to. When's he going to nail it? Looks like he's going to do so now. Doesn't look like too bad a restart. It's a long way up the hill before you see the green flag from the starting gantry. That's when they can start to overtake again, if necessary. Green now then, and away we go. So it's Mark Geraghty out front, Morgan Murray second. We're on board with the 4th place car, Hannah Chapman in Lola, chasing the 91 machine, the red 91 of Robbie Dalgleish. Behind Hannah Chapman we've got Kyle Reid. We've got so many race winners up at the sharp end. Really does show how competitive this is. But Mark Geraghty hasn't won a race yet so far this year. To my mind, handled the start superbly. Now, is it me, or is the championship leader Morgan Murray looking a little bit rattled? Callum Driver goes wide there. Chris Reid is going to have a pop up the inside line going into Clark. Callum Driver lost a little bit of momentum, and Reid manages to punish him, but there's definitely a challenge on for second place, because Robbie Dalgleish in red, very close indeed to the championship leader. Now, Morgan Murray's got a good championship lead. He's got a really good, healthy lead. He's on 236 points after Rockingham. Second place in the championship, Robbie Dalgleish has 194. So Moggs could effectively afford to have a non-finish, but he won't want to lose places. But look at Robbie Dalgleish, got a great run and goes around the outside, going down in towards Duffus. Dalgleish second. Down to third goes the championship leader. Then it's Hannah Chapman. He's going to be very pleased with her qualifying pace. Podium qualifying pace from Hannah Chapman. Really getting back to form. We know she's a former race winner. And Hannah, we know, has got the pace to be able to deliver. She's had 7 career podiums, 2 fastest laps, 1 pole position as well. They're slowing up. So we've got the safety car out again. I suspect, you probably saw on the shot, the detritus at the chicane. I'm not sure we've lost any other cars. Remember, 2 retirees from the first incident, Chris Blackhall and Johnny Dreelan. So again, the drivers have responded very, very well indeed to the flags. Ian Munro up ahead of Ross Wilkinson. Craig Blake is there as well. So there is the repair going on to the marker at the chicane. I think with those guys out on track, we're probably going to get another lap behind the safety car. Mark Geraghty, who to my mind passed that first restart with flying colours, needs to do the same again, although this time he's got the 91 car of Robbie Dalgleish in his mirrors. Championship wise, Morgan Murray the leader, Robbie Dalgleish second, Dominic Wheatley third, Mark Geraghty is in 4th place. Lights go out on the safety car. If positions stay like this, Mark Geraghty will not only get a first career win, but anything can happen, but he'll also move up to 3rd in the standings. So here's Hannah Chapman for the restart. Robbie Dalgleish looks a little bit more keen this time. Look at Robbie really hounding the race leader. Morgan Murray in behind, but it's down to Mark Geraghty. Mark will choose when he wants to go. To my mind, not perhaps as good a restart as we had at the first time of asking, but nonetheless, Mark Geraghty still has his authority on this race and has the lead. We're on board once again with the 29 of Chris Reid. Mark Geraghty, yeah, no problems at all with the restart, and he is there. Robbie Dalgleish is still challenging him with Moggs Murray in 3rd. Hannah Chapman 4th place. Kyle Reid immediately behind Hannah Chapman and having a good old look there. Dylan O'Donnell is next. Dylan, of course, has won a race this year. Robbie and Kyle have won 2 races, and Morgan Murray having won 6 races. Joe correctly alluding to the fact that the championship leader, the man with the most wins under his belt this year. But are we going to see a 5th race winner? Mark Geraghty out front. Remember that Robbie Dalgleish, or Canny Dalgleish as we called him at Rockingham, because he's got this habit of coming through from the back of the grid, has race winning experience, and he's putting big pressure under Mark Geraghty at the moment, but Mark's soaking it up. Neil Robertson exiting the hairpin there as we go back on board with Kyle Reid, and then back to the race leaders down the hill again. Garrity is here. I tell you what, he is going to be feeling the nerves now as we head towards the closing stages of this race. Hannah Chapman in fourth, would dearly love to get a podium, keeping it tight there, going down into Scotsman, defending from Kyle Reid. Dylan O'Donnell is next up. Then it's Mike Courts in the 75. Look at Kyle Reid, will want to try and get towards the podium. I would say at the moment, barring any more safety cars, I don't think Kyle Reid is on for a podium here. The top three look relatively settled. Hannah still soaking up the pressure at the moment from Kyle Reid. Let's see what Mike Courts can do about Dylan O'Donnell. O'Donnell has a quick look to the inside. Now we've got Garrity is under pressure, no doubt about it, from Robbie Dalgleish. This is the run down from the 29 car down into the, and there is contact aplenty coming out of the hairpin, and Chris Reid goes onto the grass, and it was Kyle Reid that we saw who was a casualty of that. So Kyle Reid loses out on fifth position. Mark Garrity meanwhile the race leader, but look how close Robbie Dalgleish is to him at the moment. Here's the fourth place car. Into pit lane comes Kyle Reid and becomes our third retirement of the race. Welcome back to Knockhill Circuit, and we're looking at Dominic Wheatley, third in the championship, getting very well stuck in there. Michael Weddell, the man who was on pole at Rockingham, is immediately in front of him. Expected to see Michael a bit further up. He is becoming something of a regular on the podium now, but some way back from this lead battle. It's Mark Garrity under big pressure, looking for his first ever win. Could have a little bit of Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup history in the making. Third place is Morgan Murray. Fourth place, Hannah Chapman. Hannah with the fastest lap of the race so far. Across the line behind them is Dylan O'Donnell, so Dylan running well, and we've got a three-way battle here. Mike Courts on the inside line, Taylor Shand just to our right, on board with Chris Reid again, looking around the outside line. Chris Reid there in number 4 is Dominic Wheatley, who by my reckoning here is going to lose third place in the championship to current leader Mark Garrity. Of course, Garrity has to finish in order to do that. Superb shot as they throw the cars through the chicane here. Then they go up towards, it is uphill, in towards Clark Corner. Chris Reid inside the top 10. Neil Robertson is immediately ahead. You can see Michael Weddell coming under pressure here from Dominic Wheatley, with Robertson in the blue 10 challenging hard and looking down the inside line here. He's going to keep it tight on the way into the hairpin. Is he going to be able to go through? Weddell in 22 might have a bit more momentum, but Mark Garrity still out front. Garrity driving superbly, got away well from the start. 2 decent restarts as well after the safety car, and the important thing for his point of view is he soaked up the pressure initially from Morgan Murray, but more so from Robbie Dalgleish. We're on board with Chris Reid again, and trying to go through on the inside line is Neil Robertson, who has a little wobble, loses momentum, keeps it on the outside line. He knows that Reid is there. Good driving from the pair of them ultimately, and Reid goes through. Michael Weddell, the man he's chasing, Weddell running in 8th place at the moment. Dominic Wheatley is up ahead of him, but here is the race leader, and it's Mark Garrity who's pulling away again. Mark Garrity starting to get away a little bit again from Robbie Dalgleish, because Robbie under pressure from Morgan Murray, who looks to the outside line and is going to be thinking about a run up the hill. So there's going to be a challenge on the way to the checkered flag for sure as they come out, and there is Murray looking at the inside line, but the checkered flag is being readied, and Mark Garrity takes his first ever win, our 5th winner of the season, side by side for second. Dalgleish second, Murray in third, Hannah Chapman 4th. Then Dylan O'Donnell from John Duncan. Dominic Wheatley classified 7th from Michael Weddell. Then Chris Reid and Neil Robertson in 10th. 11th goes to Ian Munro from Alan Patterson. Callum Dryborough, Taylor Shand, Simon Holderness, Ross Wilkinson, Craig Blake, Adam Kindness, Emily Glanville and David Long.
Mark Way race winner. We spoke before the start and I said this was a good chance. Morgan and didn't get a good start. You made a lightning start and controlled it so well.
No, I hooked up quite well off the line. I was expecting to have more alongside me, but then Robbie was coming to defended and just took the line and pulled out probably an 8-car gap. And then seen the old SC board come out, and I was like, oh no.
Twice as well?
Twice, yeah. Pulled out a gap, and then pulled out a gap the second one, and then I noticed Robbie had got past Morgan, but no, battled away with him. But he was flashing his lights, trying to put me off, but I kept it steady, just tried to focus in front, and got the first win. So no, it was good. But I'd like to thank obviously the sponsors again, Bonfront Security Services, Grassix BMW, and all the other people that helped me, because without that first place, I wouldn't have it. So thanks to them.
It's a nice feeling when you're in the lead and you look in your mirrors and you see them 2 and 3 wide behind you. You know that they're not thinking about you.
Yeah, but then you're trying. You do look at your rearview mirror and you know yourself. It slows you down. You're just trying to focus in front. I was just trying to put it like a practice session. I was tested yesterday, went quite well. Just trying to focus in front, but you're always looking. And no, it was really good to come over that line in first. So.
Well done.
Cheers, Joe.
Robbie, well done. No testing. Third on the grid, and halfway through that race, I said to someone, "Robbie's going to win this," because you were on a mission, but you seemed to run out of steam. Mark had some pace at the front.
Yeah, Mark's drove a great race. He got away. A couple of safety cars. I was on his bumper, and then just kind of once I got to him, I felt I was going to pass him, but I could never get the speed to get past. But I was happy to get second. You know, Morgan's leading the championship, but he was behind me there, so small close of the gap, but still closing it.
Yeah, that was my next question. You've had some wins, you've had some great results, but you've had some disasters as well. And Morgan, he's managed to remain fairly consistent, hasn't he? The points, it doesn't look great at this stage. It's going to take a pretty special second half of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. Can't afford any non-finishes or anything. You know, I've got to keep my nose clean now. I think it's about 30 odd points in front. You know, so anything can happen. It's still a long way to go, but I like to try to keep myself in contention.
Well done.
Thanks.
Morgan, well done. Pole position, but that looked like the drive of a champion to me. Playing it kind of sensible. Robbie was giving you a hard time, and I knew you didn't want to get involved with any of that malarkey.
Yeah, I didn't have a great start. Mark Gerety got an excellent start. Robbie was pulling the pressure on me, so he got past, and then I tried to get him in the last corner there, but I just kept it cool and just try to keep it consistent. Yeah. You
don't need to win at this stage, but it's not time to throw in the towel fully on winning races.
No, I mean, there's still another 2 races today, and then there's still the rest of the season. So yeah, there's still a long season to go, really. Yeah, I mean, big thanks to my sponsors as well for setting up the car. They did an excellent job, GRC. So yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hannah, well done. A good qualifying position, and this time it turned into a great result. I thought the podium was on, but you were playing kind of sensible because it was good points.
Yeah, just with the way my season's been going so far, I really just first of all wanted to finish the race. I'm gutted I missed out on a podium, but I was under a lot of pressure from Kyle and was trying to defend against him, which meant the front 3 got away, but something happened to Kyle at the hairpin, and that meant, it's a shame for Kyle, but the pressure was off me and I was able to start catching the front pack again. I got fastest lap, which I'm really happy with, and it's just good to be back because I've not been right all season, so hopefully this is a turning point.
Get stuck in race 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup race number 2 about to begin, and if race number 1 is anything to go by, it's going to be drama. I'm a little bit further back with Emily. Emily, new to the championship. How do you pronounce your last name? I struggle with it. Glanville. Emily Glanville, new to the championship. A great first race. You've got the pace to go forward. You just need to clear a couple of cars in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going to be doing in this race. Certainly looking forward and looking to move up the pack.
And keeping it in one piece.
Yes. Yeah, that's the way.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
It's good to always good to see new faces in the championship. And Emily's come from the Junior Saloon Championship and really quick and really showing really well in her first race. Right, we'll start here when we start to do a backwards grid walk. We're going to go the other way. John Duncan. John, 5th? 6th?
6th. Yeah.
6th. You can work from 6th.
Yeah, I think so. Tricky qualifying again, not to make excuses, but happy to move from 9th up to 6th in the first race. It was good progress. Car was a wee bit bent. We're crabbing up the straights for the last 4 laps, so it was hard work. I was pleased to stay where I was.
You're in a good position for this race, but also you've got to think about race 3 because you're in prime spot for that.
Yeah, I guess so, but I think I kind of need to stop thinking about it that way. I want to just try and make progress in each race and see how it ends out at the end.
Good luck.
Mark Gerety starting on pole position by virtue of his win in race 1. Robbie Dalgleish alongside, then it's Morgan Murray and Hannah Chapman. Back in 11th on the grid, Ian Munro. Great progress from him made from the back row of the grid. So Ian Munro looking now to move a little bit further forward and maybe get into the mix, the outright mix for the reverse grid race. We are virtually ready to go. The lighting sequence underway. Mark Gerety, left of shot. Can he make it a double? That's the question now. Alongside him, Robbie Dalgleish will be determined to try and beat him. They both get away well. So too do Moggs Murray and Hannah Chapman from row 2, side by side. Chris Reed and Neil Robertson. That's row 5 of the grid. But as they go down into Duffers for the first time, it's a good clean start. This, though, where potentially things go wrong, they do go slightly wrong for Kyle Reid, who's off the back. So too is Mike Courts. Courts looking ahead to Chris Blackhall in 13, of course, one of the 2 retirees from race number 1. Michael Weddle in 22, up ahead of Chris Reed, with Dominic Wheatley now indeed down in 4th position in the championship after race number 1. Meeting by meeting, this becomes a more fascinating championship. And it's Mark Geraghty, our 5th different winner of the year, who is out front. But look at Hannah Chapman side by side with the championship leader, just a tad further back. Dylan O'Donnell looking to try and get into the mix. Hannah Chapman goes for the big burn up round the outside. This could well work for Hannah Chapman. We're watching the rest of the pack coming into the hairpin. There is Taylor Shand in the 96. 3 lady races, of course, in the mix in this race. We're on the outside line now with Mike Courts trying to make progress. Now, as you probably saw, a little bit more cloud coverage in this race, so the rain threatening. We need to keep a very close eye on that. Hannah Chapman did get 3rd place, so Hannah up into 3rd. Dylan O'Donnell chasing John Duncan, the man Joe spoke to just before the race. It means the championship leader is down in 4th place. He's still got a good lead in the championship. 252 points, plays 214. Robbie Dalgleish, but Dalgleish will be pleased to see a couple of cars between himself and Morgan Murray as we focus there on Callum Dryborough in the 30 ahead of Taylor Shand. Here's Mike Courts looking at the rear end of Simon Holderness, the number 52, the man from Wakefield, one of the newcomer drivers. The top newcomer incident in race number 1 was, of course, Mark Geraghty, so we really need to state that to put it in perspective. A newcomer grabbing a win as down the inside line goes Alan Patterson on Callum Dryborough. Up ahead still is Neil Robertson. In behind, Craig Blake in 95 passes Simon Holderness. Those two get very close indeed. Michael Courts looking to try and move up the inside line as well. Flick on the wipers for Mike coming up the hill. Hannah Chapman back into 3rd place. Hannah really running well at this meeting. You could tell the confidence was back there in that interview with Joe after race number 1. And she took the Ladies' Cup honours in there and is at the moment fending off Moggs Murray, the championship leader. So Hannah, who is 7th in the championship at the moment, looking to claw her way a little bit further up. Again, a look towards John Duncan from Dylan O'Donnell's car out of Clark Corner. So at the moment, Duncan running in 5th place, Dylan O'Donnell in 6th. Remember, Dylan's no slouch championship-wise as well. And look further back, Ian Munro has climbed further up into the mix as well. Munro working his way towards this front group, which is still led by Mark Geraghty. And as I said from the off, the question for Geraghty is, can he now have that first win converted into a double? Chris Blackhall on the inside of Mike Courts. So too is Adam Kindness. And going through as well is Craig Blake. Here we come up the hill. Conditions not changing perhaps as we thought they might. Dominic Wheatley challenging Ian Munro there. Munro has made great progress from the very back of the grid. But still Mark Geraghty out front from that. Robbie Dalgleish in 2nd position as Michael Weddle now starts to close in on Dylan O'Donnell. Welcome back to Knockhill, and you join the battle which is going on for 6th and 7th place. The race leader, though, in blue, Mark Geraghty. Is he going to make it a double here? That's going to be the aim. Now he knows he can take a win. I'm sure a second win will be, well, not easy, but easier, certainly from the psychological point of view. We're on board with Dylan O'Donnell, looking ahead to John Duncan. Duncan running in 5th place, O'Donnell in 6th, 7th place Michael Weddle, then it's Chris Reed. Ian Munro is coming up as well in yellow, just out of shot at the moment. But look at Weddle putting the pressure on. I remind you, the driver of the 22 car had a maiden podium last time we saw the cars here at Knockhill. He went on to follow that up with another podium at Rockingham Motor Speedway. And what this is saying, of course, when you've got race-winning drivers like Dylan O'Donnell and immediately ahead John Duncan, really you've got probably the best part of 10 drivers that are capable of winning races. Hannah Chapman was under big pressure there from Morgan Murray, went wide, and he's on the outside line. Murray will go through. There's a little bit of damage on the back end of Hannah's car, and looking up the inside line now is John Duncan. Dylan O'Donnell's coming into the mix as well, but Hannah is fighting hard and hanging on to the outside line. This is the battle for third place. Hannah Chapman going very wide there, loses a little bit more momentum. Duncan's going to come through. John Duncan's got his nose in front and moves up into fourth place. Hannah is down to fifth. We're on board with Dylan O'Donnell. Michael Weddle coming up the inside line on the right, but this is the run now down into Duffus, and Hannah Chapman, who was down to fourth, is fighting back. Chapman was down in fifth rather, has got back into fourth place. Excellent fighting spirit from Hannah Chapman. Meanwhile, Weddle and O'Donnell side by side, and Weddle forcing O'Donnell wide. He wanted the track there. O'Donnell goes wide, loses the position. Michael Weddle goes through. Some wonderful racing here. One of those guys, I reckon, is going to find themselves on pole position for the partial reverse grid, which is race 3, very much touring car style. Wow, superb stuff. So Weddle up ahead now of Dylan O'Donnell. And we look back to the group behind them, because it's Chris Reed chasing Ian Munro at the moment. Munro in yellow, just out of shot, has got the fastest lap of the race. Now remember, started his meeting at the back of the field, so Munro potentially might be in line for pole position in race 3. He's one of the top drivers in this championship as well, still in the top 6, just shy of Dylan O'Donnell in the points. O'Donnell will just stretch that a little bit if they stay the way things are at the moment. But Hannah Chapman, not only did she reconsolidate fourth place, she's got back on the case of Morgan Murray, who maybe ran a little bit wide there, but Hannah can't really afford, I don't think, to make a move at the moment, because John Duncan is in close proximity. Hannah making a move means if she goes to the outside, it could potentially leave a gap for John Duncan to pounce down the inside. So her really, at the moment, her chances are pretty much limited by a mistake from Morgan Murray, or maybe an open door if he takes a racing line into the corner. Murray, of course, is going to have to compromise his cornering to defend from Hannah Chapman. You can see Hannah here doesn't have the opportunity to go around the outside. She goes a little bit wider in without making a gap on the inside for John Duncan. This was all about momentum there for Hannah Chapman. You could see what she was thinking as Dylan O'Donnell, great perspective from his onboard. So we're looking at the fight. We're not seeing a lot of first and second. Mark Geraghty still leading from Robbie Dalgleish, because we're focused on this scrap for third, and it is still the championship leader, Morgan Murray. I tell you what, may not be race winning pace, but podium pace is more than enough for the championship leader, who makes a little mistake, loses momentum now. Are we starting to see these two pull clear of John Duncan? Third and fourth, Duncan in fifth place. Race leaders down the road. Hannah Chapman's got a bit of breathing space behind her now, by my reckoning. We're on board with Dylan O'Donnell once again. So O'Donnell looking to try and close in on Michael Weddle again. Here's the battle for third. Murray still holds on. Hannah Chapman might have the opportunity to go a little bit wider this time. There she goes, she breaks ranks, nobody immediately behind her, so she can take a wider line in, maybe get a little bit of a run up the hill. Ian Munro busy chasing Dylan O'Donnell. Now Munro's done very well indeed to come through to the back of the field after qualifying. That's the beauty of this 3-race format. Again, the perspective from Dylan O'Donnell chasing up the hill. Michael Weddle holding sway over him at the moment. So many drivers not only can win races in this championship, but even more capable of getting on that podium. So you really never know from round to round who it is that's going to be on the podium from race to race. Dylan O'Donnell gets a wheel on the dirt and loses a lot of momentum. Through goes Ian Munro, through also goes Chris Reed in the 29 car, and that shows you how the tiniest of mistakes can punish you. 2 places gone. Meanwhile, Mark Geraghty is on his way potentially to a double win. The man who moved up to third place in the championship. He is a little way down at the moment on Robbie Dalgleish championship wise, but remember, Mark Geraghty is one of the newcomers in the championship, so he's going to be looking to try and take the newcomers championship title. 2 out of 2 for Geraghty. What a weekend. Problems late on, that's a biggie for Craig Blake, but it was Geraghty from Dalgleish, Murray, Chapman, Duncan, Weddle, Ian Munro, Chris Reed, Dylan O'Donnell, Kyle Reed in 10th, then Neil Robertson, Dominic Wheatley, Alan Patterson, Callum Dryber from Taylor Shand, Mike Court, Simon Holderness, Adam Kindness, Ross Wilkinson, Johnny Dreelan in 20th,
Mark, well done. What's going on today? I mean, like you said, it's like buses, you know, you try and all of a sudden they're just easy.
I know, I can't believe it actually. No, the pace in the car, got to thank Andrew Lamont Motorsport for setting up. It's just on rails today. Times consistently putting in, but I think being at the front instead of battling with people, I've been able to put consistent and concentrate and putting in good laps. Testing was good yesterday, like I said before, so no, I just got out the front. Robbie was, flashing his lights and trying to put me off, but
I know there's a bit of banter between you guys get on well, so you know that if Robbie does end up on your back bumper, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, we can work well together. If he's behind and there's traffic behind him, we can clear together, work together. That's what it's about, trying to clear traffic and then have a wee fight out. But he was trying to put me off just to get behind me, and if he had got past, fair enough, but like you said there, it was just the pace is there today, the car's handling well, so long may it continue, but it'll be a hard scrap, this reverse grid. So
you're not in like Morgan's position with a nice comfy points lead in the championship where you have to play really cautious in race 3. For you, with the pace you've got today, you can just pull the pin and go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, it's at the back of my mind as newcomers, that was the main aim this year, was a newcomers championship, so I've got to have that back mind.
Got to finish, but
I'm up to third in the main championship, so, and then Robbie's there as well, so yeah, I'm going to try and go for the win, try and do the three wins. It's been done before, so why it can't be done again? No, I'll give it a go.
Well done.
Cheers.
Robbie, I had all my money on you there to win. I don't know why I had a gut feeling, nothing against Mark at all, as he's shouting at me there, but I had everything on you and it looked really promising, but when he gets his head down, he's just got some crazy pace.
Yeah, he's mega quick this weekend, you know. One point in the race I did get quite close to him and then he just disappeared again.
I like the headlights on and moving around, even though you were about 10 metres back, it was never going to work.
Yeah, you got to try and put him off some way. I was never catching him any other way, so yeah, he got away. A couple of laps before then I just kind of backed off, seen what was going on in my mirrors, just seen they were all having a nice wee scrap on behind, so but it was a good race, happy to get second again.
Set up nicely for race 3 as well?
Yeah, so starting 5th race 3. Never know what happens in race 3, so may as well go for it.
Well done.
Thanks.
Morgan, well done, 3rd place. It's not what you want, not what we're used to, but again, thinking sensibly, a 3rd is better than sitting in the gravel.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just try to keep it consistent as we can. We know the car's off at pace, the straight line speed, it's just nothing else, it's dead, but we're trying our very best. We're going to try and get this third race and maybe make a repair somehow and see how it goes.
Not extending the championship lead. I think maybe Robbie's starting to come back into play and take a little bit off of you there, and obviously Mark as well is scoring some big points as well, but still it's still looking healthy. Yeah,
as I said, Robbie and Mark's getting on really quick. They're good guys, good sponsors behind them, so we're getting up in the grid and it's good to see, but obviously I'd like to keep it at the top of the championship, try and keep it consistent, and here's hoping we can do it in the 3rd race.
Well done.
Thanks.
Hannah, well done. 3rd place was on, and then it was off, then it was on, and then it was off, but it's good to see you back at the front fighting.
It is really good to be fighting again. It's good to be within touching distance of a podium. I'm just so frustrated because I was in 3rd, I had a really good start, and I don't even know how I got into 3rd in the first place. It just happened, and then unfortunately I got tagged going into Clark's, and then it was frustrating from there, but at least I didn't lose more places than I did and managed to hold my own in 4th. So
you've got a really good chance in race 3 now, regardless, because you'll be in the reverse grid anyway, but you're going to be ahead of these guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the reverse grid. I'm hoping for once it works in my favour. So
it's about time.
Yeah, hopefully. Ram are still happy with my performances with their 25 guests that they brought with them today, so I'm glad at least I've finished both races so far, so I'm glad.
Well done.
Thank you.
Minis race number 3 as the rain just begins to fall just slightly. Reverse grid pole position for Michael Weddle, but look at this guy here, look how dirty he is. It's Kenny Thirlwall. How many 4 mini championships?
4 minis.
And you stopped 2 years ago, you missing it?
No.
You must be missing it when they're all lined up here ready to go. I can remember me and you lining up here way back there somewhere.
I only miss racing you, Joe.
Oh, stop it. He's too cute. Racing Bike's now got a baby?
Yeah, baby, 2 months old now. We've been on the bikes now, it's our 2nd season, halfway through now. So, we're good now.
Nice to see you back.
It's good.
We'll keep moving. Michael Weddle. Stick it in there. Now, this isn't a first pole position for Michael because... I know, Vic. Michael's 2nd pole position. The first pole position came at Rockingham at the away round, and it was a genuine outright did it in qualifying job. This is easy now, reverse grid. This should be plain sailing for you.
Yeah, I mean, I know what to do now. I know not to miss gears this time, so we'll take it from there, see how this one goes. So yeah.
I jinxed Robbie Dalgleish at the last one by saying that I had my money on him, but I've got a little bit on you for this.
I wouldn't say that either, but we'll see what happens. No, it's been a good day so far. Keep moving forward, so hopefully I can stay forward this time.
You bothered about this little bit of rain?
No, just get used to it, eh?
Good luck.
Cheers.
top 6 from race 2 are reversed. It means that Michael Weddle, who finished 6th, is on pole position. John Duncan alongside row 2, Hannah Chapman and Morgan Murray, Robbie Dalgleish and Mark Geraghty. Ian Moreau just missed out. He starts on row 4 with Chris Reed. Then it's Dylan O'Donnell and Kyle Reid wrapping up the top 10. We have all 24 cars on the grid, but as you can see, it is damp. The lighting sequence is on and complete, and off go the lights. Away we go. Good start by John Duncan and Michael Weddle from the front row of the grid. Mark Geraghty on board with the man who's taken 2 wins so far. He's got a lot of work to do. Hannah Chapman's up into 3rd, but it's Michael Weddle leading John Duncan as they go down into Duffus for the first time. Here's the view from Craig Blake. What an effort from the team to get that car. We saw it in very bad shape at the end of race 2. The team have worked so hard to get that car back out. On board with Mark Geraghty, double race winner here. First ever race win for Mark in race number 1. Doubled it up in race number 2, and he started in 6th position on the grid in this one, and he's already up into 5th place. But we've got a challenge on for the lead as John Duncan goes through, and on the inside of Michael Weddle to take the lead. He's still side by side. Weddle on the outside line, Duncan in black and yellow on the inside. On board with Mark Geraghty, championship leader Morgan Murray up ahead. You can see conditions starting to get a little bit tricky. Now, is this going to be a downpour or just a light smattering of rain as Duncan comes through, still side by side for the lead? This is impressive stuff from Michael Weddle. Hannah Chapman still in 3rd place. Moggs Murray, championship leader, in 4th. And Weddle, though, holds on to lead. What a fantastic soaking up of pressure from Michael Weddle. Another driver who hasn't won in this championship before, has had a pole, as Joe mentioned, has had podia, as I mentioned, back in the previous parts of the programme. And here's the view from Mark Geraghty. Chris Reed's had a good run in 29, got ahead of him. So Chris Reed trying to climb up. And that's the wonderful thing about this championship is how competitive it is, and also, you know, these reverse grid races, we get to see new drivers up at the front. But look at Chris Reed trying the outside line on the championship leader, on board with Mark Geraghty, who wants to try and get the place back from Reed as they come out of the hairpin and climb up the hill once again. Hannah Chapman still having a very good run in Lola there, going side by side now and challenging for 2nd place. Hannah Chapman, is she going to get it? Chris Reed all over the back of the championship leader. Michael Weddle still there though. Now Hannah Chapman's been in this position before when she was challenged for 4th position in race 2 and gets ahead of John Duncan. So Chapman up into 2nd, carries a bit of momentum. She had a lot of speed going down into that corner as a result of the pass, but held on to the car up into 2nd place. And Hannah Chapman here could be in with a shout of taking the race win. Back on board with Mark Geraghty. Chris Reed up ahead. Geraghty significantly not losing any places now on where he started. And you can see behind him is the 91 of Robbie Dalgleish. Here is the view from Craig Blake in this very quickly refettled car in the mix there with Emily Glanville. Back on board with Mark Geraghty down the inside line of Chris Reed. He's got the outside sweeper. He's going to move on that outside line up the hill. Only Chris's 2nd meeting of the year, had 2 retirements when he was with us back in May. Cross the line again. Here is the view from Mark Geraghty. So a little bit further back. He's going to be delighted having taken his 2 wins. But look as well, Ian Munro, who started 7th, has dropped back a little bit in this one. Munro was very unlucky not to have been in the reverse part of the draw, which probably would have put him out front. Who knows, he could have possibly bagged a first win of the year. Hannah Chapman trying to close in on the race leader. Back on board with Mark Geraghty though. Can't seem to do anything at the minute about Chris Reed, who's driving well. Still got John Duncan in 3rd place, Morgan Murray in 4th. And Murray, I think this meeting for Murray has been, as Joe said, about thinking about the championship, not wanting to throw away that decent points lead that he had coming into this round, and also race by race as well. And he's still going to have 30 odd points or so in terms of a championship lead if he stays where he is, and if everybody else around him stays where they are. But as long as he finishes well inside the top 10, he's going to have a really good lead moving on to our next meeting, which is the 20th of August. It's the weekend following the British Touring Car Championship meeting here at Knockhill. Make sure that you come along and watch the touring cars with us at Knockhill. And then we'll show them how to do the racing properly the week after, as we are seeing done here, but still out front. And look at Hannah Chapman closing in. Here's the view from Mark Geraghty once again. Are we going to get a look at the leaders? Hannah Chapman all over the back of the race leader at the moment, Michael Weddle. Now, we're getting along in this race, and is it too early to start to talk about Michael Weddle becoming a first-time winner as well? But Hannah Chapman has got other things to say about that and goes for the wide line. John Duncan still back in third, Morgan Murray in fourth, and here comes Hannah Chapman wide into Taylor's, and he's going to try and get a run up the hill. Hannah's had the pace, fastest lap in race number 1, of course. Fastest in race 2 was Ian Munro. Fastest lap in this one at the moment is championship leader Morgan Murray. Here we go back with Mark Geraghty. Looks to the outside, goes back and has a look down the inside line. Ian Munro going through there in yellow, followed by Kyle Reid, then Dylan O'Donnell, Neil Robertson in 10, and Michael Courts, who's fought his way up from the very back of the grid where he started for race number 2, and that's Dominic Wheatley going through and down on the inside line of Simon Holderness. Callum Dryborough is in behind. Dominic Wheatley, we've still got all of the 24 starters on track, so they're all doing well despite the challenging and changing conditions. And Mark Geraghty, what can he do about the 29? The key thing we haven't seen Mark Geraghty have to do is overtake anybody so far. He's going to be thinking championship points as well. First and second though, Weddle and Chapman still very much racing hard, and Chapman again looking at the outside line and trying to close up the hill. Off goes Robbie Dalgleish, right in the mix there with Kyle Reid. Reid in green is going to try and nip through. Conditions, it's not throwing down, but it might just be making things a little bit unsettling for everyone. I think Hannah was looking for the lead going down into Duffus, but there is Chris Reid still all over the back at the moment of Morgan Murray. Here is Hannah Chapman, who gets very close indeed to Michael Weddle, who again is dealing with the pressure well. I said that Mark Geraghty didn't have to pass anybody in races 1 and 2, but he did soak up a lot of pressure. He had to deal with those restarts as well after the safety car periods in race number 1. So he dealt with everything superbly. Hannah Chapman putting pressure on. She's going to be thinking about race finishes as well. 2 fourth positions thus far for Hannah. And look at what's going on behind Hannah. John Duncan coming under pressure from Morgan Murray. Then it's on the outside line, Chris Reid, Mark Geraghty, Ian Munro, Kyle Reid, Robbie Dalgleish. Hannah again goes wide in the RAM car. He's going to have a look. No, I was thinking going to have a look at the outside line, but just at the moment can't do anything about Michael Weddle. And just look at Weddle's results. First year driver. Now, are we going to, if he wins, not only is another first time winner, but another newcomers class overall winner, which just goes to show the strength of this championship, of the coaching, the engineering that's available to these drivers to bring them on in this championship. For my money, this is one of the best championships in Europe as a one maker, and largely based here at Knockhill Circuit. Hannah Chapman still trying to close in on Michael Weddle, but Weddle doing a very, very competent job of holding on to the lead at the moment. Back with Mark Geraghty. Geraghty in 6th place, Chris Reid ahead in 5th, then ahead of Chris in the white car, Morgan Murray. Ahead of Morgan, it is John Duncan. Ahead of Duncan, it is Hannah Chapman and Michael Weddle. And Hannah again, is she going to look to the outside line? She'll see in her mirrors that Morgan Murray is putting the pressure on John Duncan, but you can see Duncan pretty much closer to Hannah this time, and she can't really afford to go wide because that would leave the door open as we go up the hill once again with Mark Geraghty. 6th position, it's where he started, so Chris Reid managed to leapfrog him earlier on, but we're on to the last lap now. Are we going to see another first-time winner? Michael Weddle has held on so far. Hannah Chapman in 2nd, and Weddle is looking very, very good indeed. Chapman's best lap is quicker, though, on lap 4, a 63.6. Weddle also on lap 4, a 63.7. And it's a big orderly queue at the moment. So many times we have disorderly queues in race 3 in the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, backed of course by Celtic Speed, but Mark Geraghty still challenging for 5th. Hannah Chapman still trying to get the lead, but I think possibly too far back. What sort of run is she going to get here through Hislops and down into the hairpin for the last time? Michael Weddle is on that inside line, so he goes defensive. Hannah is very nearly drawing levels as she comes into the into the hairpin for the last time. Might look at the inside line. I don't think that's going to be the case. And Michael Weddle here is looking good for the win, but Hannah Chapman's going to have a last-minute run up the hill. The checkered flag is ready, and Michael Weddle just takes it from Hannah Chapman. Another first-time winner here at Knockhill Race Circuit. What a meeting we've had. Weddle from Chapman, John Duncan, Morgan Murray, Chris Reed, Mark Geraghty 6 from Ian Munro and Kyle Reid, Robbie Dalgleish next from Dylan O'Donnell, Neil Robertson 11 from Mike Courts, Dominic Wheatley, Simon Holderness and Chris Blackwell, Taylor Shan next from Alan Patterson, Adam Kindness, Johnny Dreelan and Ross Wilkinson. Then Callum Driver, Emily Glanville, Craig Blake and David Long.
Michael, well done. First time winner. I know what it feels like, and that was a hard one. Sometimes when the first win comes it's easy, but that wasn't easy.
No, I mean, it was not the easiest race at all. I mean, as soon as I seen Hannah right behind me and then John was behind me, I kind of realised they wouldn't do anything silly. Minimax 1, 2, 3, which is amazing, but yeah, words can't describe it in a minute.
It's like the changing of the guards and the minis. There's all these new faces and you're all getting your first wins, and when you get that first win it just opens a floodgate and you just keep winning and keep winning.
I mean, yeah, that would be the dream. Yeah, just keep on winning, keep on winning. I mean, we got a pole position last round, so hopefully we can follow that momentum. Get a better qualifying next time, but yeah, over the moon in a minute.
Really well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Hannah, well done. What a great weekend. Like I said, it didn't start that well yesterday with the gearbox, but you turned it around today. Great qualifying, sensible races, but then up on the podium and almost a win.
Yeah, almost a win. I wanted that win so badly. I was shouting some abuse at my teammate, but at the same time I wasn't going to do anything stupid. I wasn't going to fire him off or anything, so I was trying everything, but he just was so good at defending. But I'm just so happy to be on the podium again overall and not just as a lady. So I just really wanted this weekend to be a turning point for me for the awful season that I'm having so far, and it has been, so I'm happy.
Well done.
Thank you.
John, well done. Under the radar for the first couple. I spotted you on the reverse grid and thought, oh, that's a dangerous position for you on the front row. I know you can do it from there, and it was a good race, good clean race.
Yeah, it was good fun. I had no ABS for the second or third race, so it was a bit of a struggle. But the guys had the car set up perfectly. It was absolutely singing. And I said it on the radio there, I'm just delighted for Minimax we've been able to do that.
I sensed a little bit of let's just hold station a little bit there. There wasn't the explosion I was expecting at the end.
Yeah, it's hard to pass without ABS. I've not really had much experience driving without it, so I wouldn't have done a lunge on anyone, let alone my own teammates. So yeah, I was playing it pretty canny, but I'm very happy. It's a good weekend.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, unfortunately that brings today's racing to a close from the minis, but we've seen 3 great races. New winners in all of the races today. Well done to Michael, well done to Mark as well in the first 2 races. But make sure you tune in next time for more mini action.